Hello everyone, great to have you here on the channel of MeteoMark Weather. Welcome to the channel here. We're going to take a look at the winter storm occurring in the interior part of the Northeast. We'll see which areas could see the greatest snowfall accumulation, and we'll be even looking next week to see if we might see a snowstorm around Thanksgiving as well. And we're also going to be taking a look at the tropics here. We're still watching an area next week that could stand a chance of developing from a tropical wave to a disturbance and potentially maybe a tropical depression or storm. We'll get into all the details from your wintry weather to your tropics. Let's get into it. And we'll be taking a look here into the interior snowstorm across parts of the Northeast as we head on into the rest of Thursday night into Friday. All right, so let's take a look at the tropics before we take a look at our winter storm. We're going to take a look as we progress through the next several days here. So you're going to start off with showery weather here, rainy conditions, Costa Rica, Panama, even some showers as this cold front. That's the much advertised blasting cold front that's going to promote a much drier air mass, at least temporarily here. So as we go through the rest of your week into the weekend here, you can see some showers kicking up southeast of Jamaica. This is by the 24th, actually, so we're getting into Sunday, and you see this big ball of moisture. This is our big tropical wave disturbance that's we're going to be watching very closely here. Now, the good news for people up here in the Gulf and the southeast coast, we do have a massive high pressure that's blocking this. So this is unfortunately for Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, Haiti, Dominican Republic. This is going to get caught up down here, right in the north central Caribbean, and lots of heavy rain. It looks like the heaviest stays east of Jamaica on this run, but I still think you could see an appreciable amount of rain here. And then look at this as we head towards the 25th, the 26th, into the 27th. You can see all this moisture just pluming. You can see a low trying to close off here south of Jamaica, even unfortunately with some moisture well west here, moving on shore here, the north coast of Honduras. I know you don't need any more rain, but look at this. Even the southeastern Bahamas here, the Turks and Caicos really getting socked in with some heavy rain. And look at that. The 28th into the 29th, we're still dealing with some sort of broad area of low pressure here that we're going to be watching for some potential development. Now, look what starts to happen. Obviously, you get a cold front coming through here, and whatever's left of this storm, I think it's going to start to encounter a little bit of some wind shear here towards the 29th, and you see that moisture gets sheared off to the northeast. So that is the good news. Unfortunately, there's another wave come the 1st and 2nd of December that we're going to be watching as it moves towards Honduras and Nicaragua here. You can see that trying to develop a little bit into something here the first week of December, and then we have another system that may be trying to kick up on this, basically the south side of this frontal boundary, this trough. And let's flip over to our European model as we continue to go on time here through the Friday and Saturday. This front, there it is, blasting all the way to the south and east. You're going to feel that drier air as this frontal boundary moves through. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to make it much of the way through Jamaica and down in through parts of Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Look at by the 24th, though, the European model kicking this massive shield of precipitation further north and west here. In fact, the Euro is getting much of Jamaica all the way over to Central America, Honduras and Belize and the Cayman Islands into this heavy rain plume. Euro is further west here as it's indicating this high pressure. You know, there's a double barrel high up here, which is helping push this a little bit further to the west here on the European model. So this is pretty interesting into the 26th, into the 27th. We're going to be watching this closely all the way up through the Bahamas as well. This is a very large area of low pressure, so we'll be watching it for any potential development. Look at that, the 27th into the 28th. You're just going to continue to be socked in with moisture here. So I wanted to show you this dry air and mid-layer moist air analysis here. It's going to give you an idea of how far to the south this cold front's going to get. Here's the GFS, by the way. Look at this dry air to the west. It's kind of welcome to here to Honduras, but it's not going to last. Watch what happens here. There is our moisture associated with our potential, tropical wave, tropical disturbance, whatever you want to call it here. High pressure dominating to the north. So this is Monday the 25th, but look what starts to happen here. Yeah, we start to see that low pressure trying to take hold. Now, this dry air is going to try to win out here, at least on the GFS. I'm going to show you the Euro pretty quickly here to show you that this does try to go a little bit further to the west here. But you get the idea. By the time December 2nd comes around, we do start to get another push of this moisture. And looking at the Caribbean here for tropical moisture, yeah, look at this. The GFS is showing quite a bit in the way as we get into next week. So you're going to get a couple more days of some just cloudy weather, sunny weather at times until Sunday. Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, yeah, Honduras, Jamaica, all the way through Dominican Republic, Haiti, and even the southeastern Bahamas here, the Turks and Caicos. Yeah, there are some really wet times ahead, and I'm a little bit worried in some of these darker brown regions here. This is where you could see amounts going close to 250, 300 millimeters of rainfall. You know, that's getting you up towards 8, 9, 10, 12, some areas as high as 14 inches of rain plus. And if we take a look at our European run here, this takes us through Wednesday, November 27th here. Obviously, very heavy rain around Jamaica. The European model has been bringing heavy rain up through parts of the eastern Bahamas as well. So we're going to have to watch these areas for 100, 150 millimeters of rainfall through next Wednesday. Northern coastline of Honduras, too. I know you don't want to hear that. All the way down to Costa Rica. These areas easily could get 4 to as much as 6, 7 inches of rainfall. And then as we get here into the eastern Caribbean, yeah, look at this. That tropical wave is going to be moving through Trinidad, Tobago around Monday and Tuesday. And look at that. It just feeds moisture into our central Caribbean system here as we continue to go through next week. So most areas from Puerto Rico through the Virgin Islands, the Lesser Antilles here, looking at anywhere from 45 to as much as 75 millimeters of rainfall. That'll get you up towards about 3/4 to 1 1/2 inches of rainfall. And here we go with our NAM 3-kilometer future radar. This is what we're going to be looking at as we head into the overnight hours, evening into the overnight. Yeah, there's some snow showers over by Cleveland here, Cincinnati. You might pick up a dusting, slushy, but the most of the accumulations are going to be over here from the I-81 corridor of New York and Pennsylvania, the Catskills, the Poconos, all the way westward across the southern tier and the northern tier of Pennsylvania, southern tier of upstate New York. Look at this. We're even getting some of the snowfall down to the valley floors as well. I think many areas could be like solid 2 to 4 inches valleys, anywhere from 5 to as much as 14 plus inches above those 12, 13, 1400 foot levels. And this is 3 a.m., by the way. So look at this. This is resembling kind of a classic nor'easter shape here. Look at this. All the way through 6 a.m. into 7 a.m., we're socked in with some heavy snow. And look at this. This is really interesting. This is the way this low pressure set up. You're actually getting rain further north here. And the colder air, especially where the precipitation rates are the heaviest, this is where you're going to see these snowfall amounts. It's going to be heavy, wet snow, so power outages are going to be a concern. Look at this, though. As we head up into 10 a.m., 11 a.m., you do start to see this low starts to fill in a bit and move more south and east here. That's going to bring those valley rain locations back. Some snow may continue here on the hilltops, but there it is clearing out by 4 a.m. on Saturday morning. There's 8 a.m. and then it's pulling up here into parts of New England. So the higher elevations of northern and central New England may get some clipped, even up here into parts of Maine as well. So yeah, and behind it, we got a little bit of a lake response here. This is 6 p.m. on Saturday evening. So we might have some showers kicking in from Cleveland, Buffalo, Syracuse, these areas. As these, you can see the orientation of these lake plume bands setting it just behind it. So I wanted to go back just a little bit here. We're getting into the worst of the storm. Here's midnight. So some of these white areas in the Catskills and Poconos, that's where you'll be seeing upwards of 2 to 3 inches an hour. This is where you're really going to pile up this snow. There's 2 a.m., 4 a.m. So it's looking like the Catskills into parts of the Susquehanna Valley, these areas, you're going to start to see these snowfall amounts of 2, 3 inch per hour. And those are going to really pile up fast. Those areas that get the heaviest snow band, obviously the temperature, the column of air from the atmosphere down to the ground will cool much quicker. So it'll be able to accumulate and you'll get those better snow growths more to 10 to 1 ratio instead of 5 to 7 to 1 ratio. So there it is. There's what we're looking at. Most of the snow falls overnight, Thursday night into Friday morning. And here with our European model, look at the snowfall amounts as we head through Friday into Friday night. So Thursday night through Friday night, we're looking pretty healthy here as far as snowfall accumulations. Much of this falling on the hilltops. Valley locations, you'll see anywhere from 2 to 4 inches. But these areas on the hilltops, you could be approaching a foot here, 7 inches to 14 inches, pretty easily above 12 or 1,300 feet here, even down into parts of southwestern Pennsylvania through the mountains of West Virginia here. So Catskills, Poconos, upper Susquehanna region, these hilltops, that's where you're going to be looking at the most snowfall here, even up here into the Green and White Mountains, Adirondacks as well. And if we take a look at the GFS model here, this GFS has been doing something very curious. Look what it's doing. It's bringing the heaviest snow over here into the eastern Catskills, borderlining the Hudson River Valley. This is interesting. Look at that with a bullseye at 25 inches here. Wow, that's kind of crazy. But still the Poconos and Catskills, still the big winners here for 12 to potentially 18 inches of snow. Towards the I-81 corridor, it looks more like 4 to 8, locally higher. Look at this. The GFS has Binghamton, New York at 9.9. Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, just over a foot here. Elmira right around 7.5 inches. All right, so the NAM 3 kilometer, our mesoscale model for snowfall. This is pretty well what I'm on target with here. This is what I think's really going to happen. This model does a really good job with mixed precipitation events, mixed rain, snow, sleet, freezing rain, and it's rain, snow mainly. But obviously the Poconos, the Catskills, this is where you see the greatest risk of that 7 to 14 inch range. It does have the eastern Catskills here, but Hudson Valley looking pretty okay for the most part, maybe up to a slushy inch or two. But it's the hilltops around the Hudson Valley where you'll be a little bit worried about here for significant snowfall accumulation. But there it is from the I-81 corridor on eastward here to the Poconos and Catskills. That is where you'll be seeing those 6 to 12 inch widespread on the hilltops, locally higher valleys, right around the 2 to 4 inch mark here. So if you want to take a look at snowfall amounts here nationally, there it is, the Northeast and the West Coast. Look at that up there into Canada. We'll be taking a look at some of this in our Canadian weather outlook towards, several minutes from now. But look at this. Yeah, up here into the Northeast, that's where we're going to be looking at that interior snowstorm, upwards of anywhere from 2 to 4 valleys and 5 to 14 plus on those hilltops. So if we look at the GFS into Thanksgiving, obviously this is what fell Thursday night and Friday, but it does add a little bit here. Let's get that out of the way to southeastern Pennsylvania. Let's flip over to the European model here. 12Z where we can get further out. And watch that. There's what fell Friday, Thursday night and Friday. And then, the European is a little bit further to the north on that snowfall heading on into Thanksgiving. And it's a little bit later too. Let's pick up where our NAM 3 kilometer future radar left off. So you can see we continue throughout the rest of the weekend. There it is, Sunday. We got a little bit of a trough of low pressure kicking behind it here. You can see the trough axis a little bit with some lake enhancement. Most of it'll be rain, maybe some mixed snow at times. But there it is. We're watching our next system. Here's the 25th into the 26th. So as we get into Monday and Tuesday of next week, we got a cold front moving through here. And that is going to be mostly rain. So let's get through the first part of the week here. There's a little bit of a lake response behind it as this pulls up here into Quebec. High pressure builds in just behind it here. Now, this is the storm we're going to be watching here. So this is the 28th. This is actually Thanksgiving Day. This is 4 a.m. So this is coming in quicker now on the GFS. Let's see what the GFS does with that. Oh, wow. This could be a Thanksgiving storm now. It was looking like it was the day after Thanksgiving, but look at this. We'll be watching this area on the north side. This could get pretty interesting here on the GFS model. Obviously, this run showing it a bit weaker, more of an open low pressure system sliding just to the east. So this run is a little bit weaker and further to the south, but you get the idea. We're going to be watching the Northeast corridor in here for a potential Thanksgiving snowstorm. And then, of course, this model run pulling it off the coast pretty quickly for Friday with a few snow showers behind it there by Cleveland and Erie, Pennsylvania, lake response. And then look at that, by December 1st, Almost looks like an Alberta Clippers type system going coastal on us here. Look at that. And then spinning up towards Nova Scotia there. So I wanted to show you our 12Z European model for, there's our first storm, our interior snowstorm for the Northeast. So that low just bounces around. You can see how it just spins inland like this. It does one of those loop-de-loop type things. And then it heads back out to sea as we head on into Friday night into Saturday. So getting into next week, we got that next system. Now let's get to our potential. So here it is. The European is slower on our potential Thanksgiving system. It's still the day after Thanksgiving. Now let's see. This low is kind of outpacing this one back here. But we still do have some very strong low pressure system. Of course, we don't have our precipitation overlay because it's beyond 144 hours. I'm still trying to figure out why that's occurring with our European run on this particular platform. But here it is. We have a big area of low pressure. That means to the northwest of this would be some heavy snow. So we're still on here on the European model, our 12Z. All right, so it's this time of year. You remember I break out these 500 millibar level maps here on the European model. There's our big snowstorm into the northeast, pivoting out. You can see behind it next week, we get a ridge here denoted by those orangish colors, and there is that next trough kicking in here across the lakes and the northeast. This is towards Tuesday the 26th. Let's see if we can go a little bit further out here. We can barely get to Thanksgiving Day here on the 18Z, but let's switch over to the GFS here pretty quickly. So as we get into next week, we can see what the GFS is doing. There's that energy that drops down, and then you start to see this kind of congeal along the East Coast. So this is going to be a work in progress here. You can't really say for sure whether we're going to get a Thanksgiving major snowstorm, but the ingredients are there. They just need to come together. And look at even another one behind it here on the GFS, wrapping up into quite a big trough scenario as we head through December 2nd here. All right, so let's take a look at the GFS liquid equivalent precipitation amounts. Yeah, through the weekend, we're looking at most of it across the East Coast here. This is great news for the wildfire situation, whether you're getting rain or snow. It's helping. And then as we head into next week, you can see the trend, though. West Coast, Northern California, Oregon getting hit a lot. But up here in the Northeast and Southeast Canada, this is where the axis of the heaviest precipitation is going to be all the way through December 7th here. You can see we're averaging out to as much as 4+ liquid equivalent. And as we continue with the European model, a very similar situation. This is some great news here, anywhere from 1.5 inches up to close to 3 inches liquid equivalent, averaging out about 1.5 inches to 2 inches, though. That's great for the wildfire situation. It's really putting a dent, hopefully, in our drought here. Now, it's going to be a long recovery because there's some deficits, 8 to 10 inches in some areas. Look at Northern California, though. You're getting up towards 6 to 10 inches of liquid equivalent here. All right, so your Canadian weather forecast here. Let's see what's going on as we continue through the rest of the week into the weekend. Let's just back that up a little bit. There we go. So we're getting into the weekend. Yeah, you're going to get some of the snow here in southeastern Quebec, northern New Brunswick, the Canadian Maritimes. You got this high pressure retreating over here. Look at the backside of this trough as well. You're going to kick up some real heavy snow and some snow showers out here towards British Columbia. Now watch what happens as we continue to go in time. Things get a bit quieter next week until about, there's the 25th. We're going to see some overrunning precipitation here. It's going to bring us some heavy snow across parts of southern Ontario. Look at the west coast, though, pretty quiet. And then we're heading up towards Hudson Bay. You got some snow showers up there with a little bit of a trough. But look at that. That could be a big snowmaker here, the 25th into the 26th of next week up through Quebec. Let's just zoom out just a little bit here, give you a bird's eye view of Canada. And look at that. We go through the end of the month. It's pretty quiet for the most part. You're going to get these systems kicking up from the United States. They will bring some good beneficial snowfall here for the southern provinces, something you didn't see a lot of last year. Now look at, you got the next system trying to come ashore here a little bit further to the north here into parts of British Columbia. But for the most part, there's no major extreme type systems here. So taking a look at precipitation amounts here, for parts of Southeast Canada, that is going to be where most of the precipitation is going to occur at least through the end of November here. It does start to pick up here in northwest British Columbia, but look at here into southeast Canada. This is where you'll see 70 to 100 plus millimeters of liquid equivalent. Much of this could fall as frozen too. So we'll take a look at those snowfall amounts here in just a moment. But yeah, you're going to be looking up towards 1.5 inches, maybe 3.5 inches of liquid equivalent. And taking a look at snowfall amounts here for Canada. Here's the European run. This takes us through next Wednesday. You can see, yeah, parts of southern and eastern Quebec, New Brunswick, northern New Brunswick, and even into parts of southwestern Canada here in the central province, southern provinces. We could see anywhere from about 15 to 35 centimeters of snowfall here. So, yeah, you're going to be looking at several inches of heavy wet snow in some of these areas. If we just want to pull up the GFS here, we can go further out. Whew, yeah, this is what I wanted to show you. There is a big trend here. You can see it, not just the northeastern United States and the Midwest, but all the way across eastern Canada. This is some great news. You're going to get a snowpack developing here. And going out here to the western Pacific, wow, we don't have a whole lot to talk about. Look at the Philippines here. Actually pretty quiet. This is good. You guys need it. There might be some sort of tropical system trying to form over here into the Indian Ocean. That's something we'll have to keep an eye on. Yeah, heading towards India, Sri Lanka area here towards the 27th. So that's something we'll have to watch that. That's pretty interesting. Potential landfall next week. They call them cyclones out here. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Nothing as of like development this week on it, but we'll keep a close watch. But look at that. Across the western Pacific, things are looking pretty A-okay here. Not too much to talk about. We're drying things out, and hopefully the northern Philippines can really breathe a sigh of relief here. We are getting a little bit wet up here into parts of South Korea and Japan. Look at that towards the end of the month, beginning of December. Look at that. So you're going to have a dry period here through parts of Southeast Asia until we get to about the 24th, 25th, end of the 26th. So we head into next week. Look at that big storm blasting through South Korea, Seoul, all the way to Tokyo, Japan, and blasting off the coast. So yeah, these coordinate pretty well with our weather here into the eastern part of North America. So that's something we'll have to keep a close watch on there. And looking at your rainfall amounts here, yeah, you're looking pretty okay here across Southeast Asia. Up here towards Korea and parts of Japan, this is your cold weather season. You're getting into these synoptic patterns where you get anywhere from 60 to 90 millimeters of rainfall, bringing you up towards 1.5 inches, 2.5 inches of rain. But you know what? The big thing here is the southern Philippines. You're going to start to get some of this monsoon moisture up towards 100 to 125 millimeters, anywhere from 3.5 to 5.5 inches of rainfall, and even the east coast here of Vietnam. And before we continue with more weather, check out these awesome, amazing maps that you won't find anywhere else.
I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code.
All right, so let's take a look at temperatures. Obviously, it is very strange here, Friday, November 22nd. Yeah, most of the temperatures here are getting into the lower 40s. It's these higher elevations that are going to be stuck in the low to mid 30s. That's where you're going to see that snow focus. But many areas will change to rain as we head throughout the day on Friday. And there is a moderating trend. Look at this. This is really the only major cold air in town here up in the northern plains and the Rocky Mountains. It just looks so warm here. It's crazy. But as we head into Sunday, you do start to see evidence of some very Arctic blast trying to get its way here into parts of Montana and North Dakota here. temperatures. Highs only in the single digits and lower teens here. Look at the Ohio Valley clipsing into the 50s here. As we head on into Monday, yeah, you can start to see this tries to pinwheel to the east here, holding on to 70s here in eastern North Carolina. Now look at this. The cold air kind of stays bottled up across the Midwest and plains, but there's evidence this is going to try to spill even into parts of northern New England here. So things are going to start to cool down. This is Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. Extended forecast for my hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton, Upper Susquehanna, River Valley of New York and Pennsylvania. Elevation storm continues overnight. I think the valleys will get into about 2 to 4 inches, but above that 1,200-foot level, that's where you're going to see those amounts eclipse 8, 9, 10, 11, maybe as high as 14 or 15 inches here. Friday, we do start to see the snow mix with and change over to rain in many locations. We'll make it up towards 40, upper 30s, lower 40s in many areas. In a Friday night, we kind of switch back to rain and snow mix as temperatures cool down a bit into Saturday, a little bit warmer, chance of showers into Sunday. We do start to see that chance of showers, and we'll be approaching 50 degrees by the time Monday and Tuesday comes along. As always, thank you for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Also, don't forget to join me on Facebook at MeteoMark, also Weather Northeastern, also Twitter at Weather Eastern. Don't forget it's MeteoMark.com, and don't forget, if you want to send me a coffee, there is a link, SuperThanks. You can smash that SuperThanks button or my PayPal link in the description down below. You can buy me a cup of coffee. Thanks, everyone. Share that video. Subscribe if you haven't. Smash that like button.